Did you know that Cuba is the largest island in the Caribbean and is also known as El Cocodrilo, which is Spanish for the crocodile, due to its shape? Welcome to our extensive, in-depth guide to this vibrant land, dripping with history, culture, and charm. Cuba, a country that is the epitome of resilience and revolution, is a treasure trove of experiences waiting to be explored. This country, with its enduring spirit, is the very embodiment of a tropical paradise, a place where you can revel in the warmth of the white sandy beaches, dance to the rhythmic beats of salsa under the moonlit sky, and enjoy the decadent flavor of cigars while lounging on patios framed by towering palm trees. The island is also home to an incredible diversity of flora and fauna, making it a haven for nature lovers. A trip to Cuba is like stepping into a time machine. The country's architecture is a tribute to its varied past, with buildings that range from Spanish colonial mansions to Soviet-style high-rises. The streets of Havana, the capital, lined with classic American cars from the 1950s, creating a nostalgic ambiance that you won't find anywhere else in the world. Cuba's cultural heritage is a rich tapestry woven from the threads of its Native American Taino, Spanish, African, and Caribbean ancestors. This is reflected in everything from their music and dances, such as the conga and the cha-cha-cha, to their distinctive culinary traditions. Indeed, Cuban cuisine is a delectable fusion of these cultures, creating a gastronomic experience that is uniquely Cuban. The heart of Cuba, however, lies in its people. Warm, welcoming, and full of life, the Cubans' love for their country is palpable. This video aims to give you a glimpse into their world, into the soul of Cuba, and the unique experiences that await you in this intriguing nation. Navigating Cuba can be challenging, given its distinct culture and lifestyle. Hence, we will guide you on how to avoid common tourist pitfalls and how best to experience the authentic Cuba. From exploring the colonial buildings of Havana, their intricate details and vibrant colors, to venturing into the untouched, idyllic landscapes of the countryside, we've got you covered. Delve into the local markets for unique souvenirs, visit the numerous museums to understand the country's intriguing history, or simply sip on a mojito at a local bar while listening to the melody of a live Cuban band. There is so much to see, and so much to experience in Cuba. But before you pack your bags and embark on this journey, it is important to be prepared. Let's delve into some essential travel advice to ensure your trip is smooth and memorable. Learn about the do's and don'ts, the customs and traditions, and the top 10 things not to do when visiting Cuba. Cuba is a tourist paradise, but like any destination, it has its own rules and customs. Here are some general tips to ensure a smooth trip. To begin with, understanding the currency system in Cuba is absolutely essential for traveler. The island nation operates on a dual system, the Cuban peso and the Cuban convertible peso. Each has its own unique value and usage. The Cuban convertible peso, typically, has a higher value than its counterpart and is the more commonly used currency in the tourist industry. If you're planning on indulging in Cuba's many tourist attractions, it might be a good idea to convert some of your money into convertible pesos. However, always bear in mind that some local vendors, especially those in less touristy areas, may only accept the regular Cuban peso. Secondly, it's important to discuss the language. Cuba is Spanish-speaking country. Although you'll find some English speakers in tourist areas, Spanish remains the dominant language across the cities and countryside. Brushing up on your Spanish phrases, especially hola meaning hello, and gracias, meaning thank you, could prove to be beneficial while conversing with locals. However, don't fret if you aren't fluent in Spanish. Cubans are known worldwide for their friendly demeanor and making it easy for tourists to communicate and connect. Next, we move on to discussing transportation. In Cuba, you're likely to see a delightful array of transportation means, from classic American cars to horse-drawn carriages and even bicycles. Taxis are available in abundance, but if you're looking for a more authentic, local experience, you might want to try the local buses, commonly referred to as guaguas. These buses are less expensive, although a bit crowded at times. If you're feeling particularly adventurous, consider hiring a vintage car for a day. The experience of cruising down the streets of Havana in a classic 1950s car is truly like taking a ride back in time. Now, let's shift our attention to local customs. Cubans are known to be warm, welcoming people with a love for socialization. Don't be taken aback if a local invites you to their home for a meal or a game of dominoes. These gestures are a significant part of Cuban hospitality. In such scenarios, it's customary to bring a small gift in appreciation. Also, remember that politeness goes a long way in Cuba. Always greet people with a warm smile and a friendly buenos dias or good morning. Lastly, a crucial point to consider is the limited internet access in Cuba. Unlike other parts of the world, Wi-Fi hotspots are not ubiquitous. While you'll find some in larger cities, it's advisable to download offline maps or guides prior to your trip, ensuring that you have all the information you need at your fingertips at all times, even without internet connectivity. Now that we've covered some general advice, let's delve into the specifics of what not to do in Cuba. To truly enjoy your Cuban adventure, there are a few things you should avoid. Let's start with the top 5. First and foremost on our list is the delicate matter of ignoring local customs. Cuba, like every other nation in the world, has its unique set of traditions and customs that are deeply intrinsic to its people and culture. These customs aren't just simple habits or practices. They are the threads that weave the vibrant tapestry of Cuban life. For example, one common custom in Cuba is to warmly greet people with a friendly kiss on the cheek. This might seem like a small gesture, but in the context of Cuban culture, it carries a certain significance. It's a symbol of warmth, camaraderie, and open-heartedness that Cubans are known for. Hence, not reciprocating this gesture might be perceived as being cold or indifferent, which is considered rude. So, when you find yourself under the Cuban sun, absorb the essence of the Cuban spirit. Embrace their customs wholeheartedly, and you'll find your interactions with the locals becoming more enriching, more humane, and much more enjoyable. The second point to consider is the avoidance of discussing politics in public. While the temptation to dive headlong into a profound discussion about Cuba's complex political landscape might be strong, it's generally advised to steer clear of this labyrinth. Politics, at the best of times, can be a contentious issue. In Cuba, where the political situation has been particularly volatile over the years, certain topics can be sensitive, and it's not uncommon for casual conversations to spiral into heated debates. Therefore, unless your knowledge of Cuban politics is extensive and you're comfortable navigating the treacherous waters of potentially controversial discussions, it's advisable to stick to safer, less volatile topics. Cuban culture is a treasure trove of fascinating subjects: music, food, art, and history. Explore these, and you'll find that the need for political discourse diminishes. Thirdly, be mindful not to ignore the local currency. Cuba operates on a unique dual currency system, the Cuban Convertible Peso, CUC, primarily used by tourists, and the Cuban peso, cup, used by locals. At first glance, it might seem easier to stick to what's familiar, the CUC. However, this could mean missing out on a more authentic and cost-effective experience. Many local establishments, particularly those nestled in the heart of non-tourist areas, operate primarily with the cup. The prices here can be significantly lower and the experience significantly richer. So, don't shy away from the unfamiliar. Embrace the local currency, immerse yourself in the true Cuban lifestyle, and you might just discover a different facet of the Cuban adventure. Our fourth point is the vital importance of respecting the environment. Cuba is a treasure trove of natural beauty, home to some of the most breathtaking landscapes and vibrant ecosystems in the world. As visitors, it's our moral responsibility to preserve this. This means not littering, avoiding any acts that could damage flora and fauna, and respecting local wildlife. It's about recognizing that we're guests in their home and acting accordingly. Remember, every action has and our actions today will determine whether future generations will get to enjoy the pristine beauty Cuba has to offer. Last but not least, don't forget to tip. Tipping is customary in Cuba, and it forms a crucial part of the income for many Cubans working in the service industry. Whether it's the friendly tour guide who regaled you with fascinating tales about Cuban history, the dedicated hotel staff who ensured that your stay was comfortable, or the jovial taxi driver who navigated through the narrow Cuban streets with effortless ease, a small tip can make a big difference. And it's not just about the monetary aspect. It's about expressing gratitude, acknowledging their efforts, and appreciating the service they've provided. So, there you have it, the top 5 do-nots for your Cuban adventure. But remember, these aren't hard and fast rules. They're just guidelines to help you make the most of your journey. Every experience is unique, every journey different. Always room for a little flexibility, a little spontaneity. So those were the first 5 things to avoid. But we're not done yet. Let's move on to the next 5. If you thought the first 5 were intriguing, prepare yourself for the remaining 5. Let's journey deeper into the list of do-nots that one should adhere to. The 6th mandate on our list is a straightforward one, yet it carries an importance that cannot be understated. Do not disrespect the local culture. Cuba is a vibrant country, teeming with a rich and colorful history and traditions that pulse through every aspect of daily life. From the infectious beats of the music that resonate through the air, to the delicious and tantalizing cuisine that defines their food culture, to the enchanting dance forms that are a visual treat to the senses, there's a rhythm, a unique cadence that differentiates life here from any other place in the world. When you find yourself in this mesmerizing land, ensure that you respect these cultural norms and traditions. It's not just about being a polite visitor or a respectful tourist. It's about comprehending and appreciating that these traditions have profound roots that delve deep into the heart of the Cuban society. They are an essential component of the Cuban identity that should not be overlooked or brushed aside. Moving forward, number 7 on our list is a crucial etiquette to remember. Do not forget to tip. In Cuba, tipping is not merely a courteous gesture or a polite acknowledgement for a service well done. It is an integral of the economy that cannot be ignored. A significant segment of the Cuban population rely heavily on tips as a major source of their income. Whether you're savoring a meal at a paladar, a private restaurant renowned for its culinary delights, or enjoying a scenic ride in a classic vintage American car, remember to tip generously. It's not just about handing over a few extra bills. It's about demonstrating your gratitude for the hard work, diligence, and impeccable service that the people of Cuba are known for. Number 8 is a gentle reminder to keep you in check. Do not anticipate everything to proceed exactly, as this is not to insinuate that Cuba is a land of disarray. Quite the opposite. However, the rhythm and pace of life in Cuba is distinctively different. Things may not always as swiftly or as smoothly as you might be accustomed to in your homeland. But therein lies the charm. Cuba is a place that beckons you to slow down, to savor the moments, to soak in the vibrant atmosphere. So, when your plans take an unexpected detour, embrace it. Go with the flow. These unplanned detours, the unexpected surprises, they all contribute crafting an authentic Cuban experience. Our 9th guideline is a practical one. Do not disregard the local currency. Cuba operates on a dual currency system, the Cuban peso and the Cuban convertible peso. As a tourist, you'll primarily be dealing with the latter. However, having a clear understanding of the value of both currencies and knowing when to use each can spare you a lot of confusion and potentially save you a considerable amount of money. So, before you embark on your Cuban adventure, take some time out to familiarize yourself with the local currency. A small step that can make a big difference in your travel experience. Lastly, number 10, perhaps the most important one, something that should always be your top priority no matter where you travel. Do not neglect your safety. Despite Cuba being generally considered a safe country, it is crucial to stay vigilant, like anywhere else in the world. Always be aware of your surroundings, especially in crowded areas where incidents like pickpocketing can occur. Secure your valuables and avoid sporting expensive items conspicuously. And of course, always make sure you have a comprehensive travel insurance policy as a net, just in case. And with that, we reach the end of our comprehensive guide of 10 things not to do in Cuba. But let's quickly recap. Cuba is a beautiful country with a rich culture and history, but like any travel destination, it's crucial to respect and understand the local customs and rules. This enchanting island nation is known for its stunning architecture, vibrant music, and mouth-watering cuisine. However, as a traveler, it is vital to follow certain guidelines to ensure a memorable and respectful journey. Let's dive deeper into our 10 do-nots for visiting Cuba. The point, avoid political discussions, cannot be overstated. Politics can be a sensitive topic, often leading to passionate debates that may cause discomfort. It's always wise to steer clear of potentially heated exchanges and respect the different viewpoints each individual may hold. The second tip is to never forget to pack essentials and medicines. Cuba has its charm, but it might not cater to all your specific needs. You might find it challenging to locate certain items in local stores. Being prepared can save you from potential inconveniences, ensuring your trip is smooth and worry-free. Transitioning to the third point, do not flash your cash or valuables. It's important to maintain a low profile and be mindful of your belongings to avoid unwanted attention. Always exercise caution, keeping your valuables secured. This isn't exclusive to Cuba, but a universal tip for travelers around the globe. The fourth piece of advice is to not ignore the local currency, the Cuban peso. Appreciating the value of the local currency will help you navigate your transactions smoothly. It's imperative to be aware of the exchange rates and make sure you're not being overcharged. Fifth, don't pass up the opportunity to experience the traditional Cuban cuisine. Cuban food is a blend of Spanish, African, and Caribbean cuisines. It's a gastronomic journey you wouldn't want to miss. From the classic ropa vieja to the refreshing mojito, you will find the flavors absolutely delightful. Moving to the sixth point, don't disregard the local culture and traditions. Always remember the saying, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. Show your respect for the local customs and engage in them to experience Cuba authentically. Seventh, it's crucial not to undertip. Tipping is customary in Cuba, and it's a gracious way to appreciate the service provided. It's a small gesture that can significantly impact the people who work hard to make trip memorable. The eighth pointer. Don't forget to plan your internet usage. Internet access isn't as readily available in Cuba as you might be used to. Plan accordingly and use this opportunity to disconnect to reconnect with the world around you. Ninth, and one of the most important, don't neglect your safety. It's crucial to stay vigilant and follow the local rules and regulations. Always prioritize your safety and don't put yourself in potentially dangerous situations. Finally, the 10th point is not to underestimate the power of a few basic Spanish phrases. A little effort in learning the local language can go a long way in making your journey more comfortable and enjoyable. Remember, these tips are not intended to deter you from visiting Cuba, but rather to equip you with the knowledge to fully embrace the Cuban experience. So pack your bags, respect the local customs, and have the trip of a lifetime in Cuba.